Well, hello everyone. So today we are focusing on the floor. Corey is first up going to show you how we patch the holes in our floor. I'm going to show you how we Ospho'd our floor, and then to finish it off today, I'm going to be spray painting the floor with some Rustoleum to give it a nice fresh coat of paint before we start building.
How's it going, everyone? So today we're going to try to patch some holes in the bus. We have lots of holes in the bus from the seats. As you can see, we took them out. Some of them were bent a little outward, so I took a hammer to them before to try to get them at least inward instead of outward. We're eventually going to cover this up with wood anyways, and there will be paint over it. The holes don't necessarily have to be bondoed or steel set. You could probably get away with doing a lot of different options, but this is the option that we came up with and we decided to do. So in order to get this done, from what we've researched, from what I've researched, you at least need to prep the area to get the stuff to stick well. From when I tried to do it, every time I put the compound inside of the hole, it would just go, or around it would just fall through the hole, and you would just keep pushing it and it would just keep falling through the hole. So in order to fix that, I got some of the stuff that you usually use to patch holes in drywall, I did a test run on a couple holes and it seemed to work pretty well. They didn't get, once we sanded it down and worked it out, we didn't have any issues with it at all. So I just cut little pieces of this. The stuff that we're using is called Steel Sick. Looks like this. It's from JB Weld. Basically, after you do this, it's advertised to be steel, and you can cut it just like steel. So it comes in a tube, and it comes in and it looks like this. What you have to do is you have to put the two compounds together plus air. So what we're going to do is just smash it. Once it gets to be a consistent color, it should be this color, whatever this color may be. I'm not really sure what this color is, but it's all consistent. Work out, because as you do this, it will become warm to the touch and eventually hot. So once I get this, I just pull a little ball size shape of it off, and I mash it in the hole. Like I said before, it kind of just falls through the hole, most of it, so I kind of just try to get it as much in the hole as possible, and all the other stuff can be sanded off. All the excess stuff can be easily sanded off. So like, just I just put it in a ball shape around the size of the hole and mash it in there. It's already getting warm to the hand. And then we wait, it says 3 to 4 minutes you could do some stuff, but we're actually going to wait about 45 minutes to an hour to make sure that this is set. And then if there's any issues with anything that we did, we will redo it. After we let it sit for about an hour, you can feel that it's super rock hard. Or metal on it.
That's what she said.
Okay. Anyways, we got some P60 to get a lot of it off. If we were going to do something else with this surface other than cover it up, we eventually would sand it down to a nicer, smoother thing. But right now we're just trying to get rid of the excess stuff that we have on there. So I got myself just a palm sander, and we're gonna see what happens. So as you can see, I sanded off all the excess. It kind of looks like a different color underneath, but I make sure that it's hard and it's not going to go anywhere. I've tested all the holes. Every now and then I don't do it right, or before I started putting this stuff in it. After I sanded it down, it would just fall through the hole. So just make sure it's good, and then I just go on to all the other 6,000 holes to do. see, this was spinning, so something didn't go quite right with this one. We'll have to redo this hole.
Attention. Yes, mommy, pet me. Play with me. Since I talked about the Ospho in our last video, I just wanted to show this time-lapse update of me doing the rest of the Ospho. It was after I finished doing the Ospho after my second surgery, so I was a little sore, and you can see I take a break a few times, and I'm moving really slow. But overall, this was a really fast process. It only took about an hour, and that was with me taking breaks. The consistency of the Ospho is like water. It's very easy to brush over, and I found it easy to use a foam brush as pictured to brush on the Ospho. You do have to wear a mask. It's very toxic, and you do not want to be breathing it in until it dries. I didn't stay in the bus to stick around and see how long it dries, but it recommends that you let it sit for at least 24 hours, and I let it sit for about 48 hours. The entire process was super easy, and I think the final result was fairly decent. There was only 2 sections that I had to put on a second coat, and once I put on the second coat, it worked really nicely to turn all the rust into black, which means it is fully converted. The Ospho is sat for 48 hours, and most of it looks pretty good. There's still a few reddish spots in a few places like here where it's really bad, but most of it is black, so I'm just gonna go ahead and move on and paint it. And then the second coat in the back really did make a difference, so that's good. And the stuff that was done, like where a lot was put, had a lot of the white Ospho, like foamy stuff, like white dust. But all the little spots have no rust anymore, and there was not really that much white buildup, so that's good. We are using steel stick on the floor, which we'll show you in just a few minutes. But overall, most of the holes have been covered. We have a few bigger holes that need to have something a little bit stronger than the steel stick, or more steel stick than we have, so we'll get to that eventually. We're reaching a really exciting part of our build where everything is coming together, and we're starting to really feel like we can start collecting the materials that we're going to use for our build, and talking about what the design aspect of it is going to be. Corey's pretty much giving me free rein for the most part, but he does have a couple of ideas that I feel like we're going to probably go for a clean, modern base, and then the embellishments are all going to be kind of steampunk, Victorian inspired. So I want a lot of the design elements to have little flourishes, but for the base to be clean and white. Obviously we're planning on keeping the bus for at least 5+ years, but you know, maybe we end up hating bus life, and so we want to have a nice clean base that we could then turn around and sell it to somebody else if we don't end up liking the bus life. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love bus life. Corey is coming around to the idea, so we just like to keep our options open. We've already purchased some wood for our counters. I've got a little clip of that. And I'll talk more about design stuff later, but we in the background, we're not necessarily filming every bit of it. We'll post things like little stories on Instagram, but we are starting to kind of figure out design aspects and little things. Today is time for spray paint. I've got my handy mask that I have covered in white paint. Now we're gonna gray paint all over it. We decided to go with a Rustoleum primer. It's a primer and a paint. So it's a top coat, it doesn't need another coat over it, and it's like the professional grade, more expensive one. It's a little bit colder than it recommends it being, but I think with the sun it's warm enough today. It probably will just take a little bit longer to dry, but it should set just fine. And we have 2 days before we're gonna be putting the floor down, so the goal is to just get everything spray painted so that it's dry by the time we do floors on Saturday.
Let's get painting!
My SD card was full, so I didn't end up getting a ton of footage of this part. It was very easy to spray paint the entire floor. It took about 12 cans. Probably would have been easier to roll the paint, but I wanted to use a spray can because it was easier for me after my surgery.
And then in a couple of days, we're going to be putting down the floor. My dad is coming up, so that is going to be the next video. It's going to be Corey and I and my dad putting in the floors on the bus and getting ready to put in walls. I'm really excited to get to the design phase and the building phase, and to be done with demolition and the not so fun part. We obviously still have to paint a little bit of the outside and getting trim and like spot treatments and everything on the outside, so that's not totally done yet. But you know, building on the inside will give me kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel that this is actually happening, and eventually this will be my dream. One of the other items that I also got recently was a laser cutter. If you would like to see, I got a BMO, and if you'd like to see the unboxing and the review of that laser cutter, that is going to be what's going into the bus. We're going to build a special filtration system, ventilation system for that, and that's going to be part of my work desk station. So that is something that I did invest in so that we have a set size that we know we need to conform to in the desk area. Now that things are picking up steam, the videos hopefully will be a little bit more consistent. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a like. Consider subscribing. I am trying to grow this channel into kind of what my old channel used to be, and it really helps when you subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers so that I can get a custom link. That would be really important to me. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I really appreciate it. If you have a Skoolie build, please do share it in the comment box below. I want to see your Instagrams. I want to see your YouTubes. I want to connect with other people that hopefully will be eventually, you know, meeting each other on the road and hanging out and going to conventions together. So if you'd like to hit me up, please do reach out in the comments below or send me a DM on Instagram or something. I thanks so much for watching, and until next time, remember to create, love, and travel on. Bye!